All right, everybody, welcome to the Pickleball podcast. And I am delighted to welcome Gregg Whitfield to our conversation today.
It's good to be here with you.
Yes. And, it is just so fun. I love talking about pickleball. I love meeting people like you and then sharing who you are with a larger group. Because, boy, with the growth of pickleball, there's so many interesting people doing, really interesting things. And, I know a lot of, if you don't know who Gregg is, I want to share this. This is his background and this is not everything, but his vast experience and his wins at this upper level. 5.0 professional. So he brings all of this experience in tournaments, in coaching, in playing pickleball. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I wanted, so I saw you last in person at the Mountain Regionals in Vegas. And it was so interesting because I walked up to you and I'm like, okay, how's it going, Gregg? Why aren't you playing? It was mixed doubles day. And so if you could tell everybody that story about what happened.
Well, I was warming up with a lady that I'd never played with before. And she came in from the East Coast, Sherry Shearer. And we were playing some rec games. And then after the rec games, we just worked on some dinking. And it was hot. I mean, it was probably low 90s. And we were just doing some dinks. And she came up to the net and grabbed a hold of the net. And I came up to her and I said, "Are you feeling okay? Are you all right?" And she said, "No, actually, I feel like I have low blood sugars." And then she started to stagger. And so then I looked like she was going to faint. So I grabbed her, but I'm on the other side of the net. And then what happened was that she just basically collapsed. I thought I was just going to be able to escort her off the court over to the shade, but that didn't happen because she literally passed out. And so then as she started to just completely collapse, I was able to hold her to a certain levels that when she fell, she had a few inches to get her butt on the ground, but then she fell over backwards and back of her head hit the court and she was out. And oh my God, I was just, yelling and screaming, help, help, call 911. And so a bunch of people came over. And eventually, the EMTs came and they took her to the hospital. She had a concussion. And it was just shocking to see someone, go from playing and conversing and then in seconds was out, So it was unfortunate for her, and hopefully she's okay. She went to the hospital and then from there she got released and she's in with family the last I talked to her.
Yeah. And she's okay. I mean, did she just have low blood sugar from not having enough?
No, they had she had medical conditions in her past, but nothing like this. We just thought it was low blood sugars and just it was hot and maybe she didn't hydrate and not sure exactly what happened. But when she hit her head, she did get a concussion, which was really unfortunate. And hopefully she's on the mend. I haven't talked to her since 2 days after the event. I really need to reach out to her and see how things are going.
Yeah. So you always did you have a background in a degree in physical education?
Yes.
And did you teach?
I taught a couple years of physical education, and one time I had a PE class that was basically called the Goon Squad. And it was just all the kids that just had no interest in any type of recreation or physical education or anything. And I just told them that, you're going to do something on my watch. You're not going to go behind the bleachers and smoke cigarettes. So I encouraged them to bring a Frisbee, kickball, basketball, volleyball. It didn't matter what you want to do, but let's do something with recreation involved in it.
Yeah.
And I still struggled to get them going. And that was, after that experience, it kind of got me discouraged with teaching physical education. So then I became a tennis pro at a country club and went the other route. And then that has a lifetime effect, because if I had stayed in teaching, I would have had a different form of retirement plan, you know. So becoming an independent contractor my whole life, then you're responsible for your own retirement. But I taught tennis and taught with some of the top players or instructors in the world. You know, Dave Reed played at UCLA with Arthur Ashe. Sven Davidson was a Grand Slam winner. You know, I think he won the French Open. And then there was Bob Sherman, who came on the scene, and he won national titles in the Bobby Riggs era. So these guys had a big effect on my tennis teaching and playing.
Yeah.
So then when I got into pickleball, I wanted to see what my skill set in tennis could do in pickleball.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not like a great athlete. You know, I was average. I was diligent. I worked out. I studied the different sports, and I had above average skill set, but not somebody who was naturally gifted with a high vertical jump or extra strength or speed.
Yeah.
And so just through the tenacity of training and learning shots, I developed my game, and I want to see what I could do in pickleball. And so the way I taught and played tennis is the way I teach and play pickleball. There's a great similarity there. And I'd say of all the sports, tennis has the biggest advantage to pickleball players. However, you know, anything with a racket's going to help. You know, racquetball or ping pong or squash or whatever you play is going to help.
Yeah. So how has your game evolved then? Well, okay, wait, I'm sorry. I something else I was thinking about. So were you one of those people who like kind of dismissed pickleball because it's called pickleball and you were a little reluctant to try it? Was there a period where you just like, no, and then you decided to go with it? Or were you open to the idea, you know, early on?
Well, I got exposed to it, and I didn't know what pickleball was. I was planning in my life to play senior tennis, and that's what my dad did. And he was probably top 10 in California and did well, won trophies and stuff. And so when I got involved in pickleball, I saw it, and I Googled it, and I'm going, oh my goodness, this is what I want to play, because tennis at the open level when I was in my early 20s, you're just basically getting blown off the court by guys that have big serves and big power. And so I wanted to play senior tennis when hopefully that power was going to be nullified. However, when I found pickleball and I saw the kitchen and the drop shot, and then that's how you play at higher levels by learning how to hit a drop shot, that's what got my attention. And so then it took me a couple years to develop that aspect of the game, the soft game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that big thing now in pickleball is how do you play against bangers? And well, it's certainly there to stay, and the paddles are getting stronger and harder hitting and more velocity all the time. So to play against the bangers, you have to learn how to hit the ball in front of their feet, wherever they are on the court. That takes ball control. And so the ball control I had in tennis was the same way I applied over to pickleball. And I just think that whether you play competitive pickleball or just recreational, I just think it's the best sport that there is. You know, I mean, golf is a good sport. There's golf all over. It's kind of expensive. It takes a long time to play. And pickleball right now, it's like you can play all over every state. You know, you can go to the different.
I'm so with you. Yes.
That's why it's so great.
Yes. I mean, think about it. When you go golfing, you know, like $80 a person is probably average.
Right.
You know, and you've got this big bunch of clubs you got to take. It's just a lot of, you know, baggage that goes with it.
Sure. Well, the analogy I have with golf over to pickleball is that a lot of players, the majority of players, seem to play like with one club, a driver. You know, so when they play pickleball, they have one club in their arsenal and they just hit every ball hard, which is not bad if you're a recreational player. You want to get out there, see ball, hit ball, and go for it.
Yeah.
And if you want to be able to play at different levels against certain people, you know, I think you want to have, you know, some soft irons. You want to have a putter. You want to have different clubs. In other words, different shots. So my emphasis on pickleball is pickleball shots and strategies.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
you want to develop your shots. And so a real good analogy there is that if I just started thinking about the serve, and in the serve, most people get out and hit one serve exclusively.
Yeah.
And players, for an example, that don't have a backhand or avoid their backhand, they've never hit a backhand serve. I would say 99% of players have never hit a backhand serve in their life.
I've never.
And so now you've got the new drop serve. So you literally can drop the ball
Mm-hmm.
and now hit a backhand, because most of the time they're going to return the serve anyway. I mean, it's not going to be an ace.
Yeah.
So, and the top players in the world, they just seem like they're just getting the ball in play. Now, some of them are getting more advanced, harder serves, but for the most part, it was get the ball in play.
Yeah.
So if you want to have an all-court game and develop your game, I would encourage people to hit different serves, because my concept is pickleball shots and strategies.
Yes.
Now, if you want to have different strategies, you should be able to hit a lob serve. And what that's teaching you to do is be able to hit a lob return a serve, because as we get older, I'm 68 now, and we're going to have a lifetime sport. You want to have more time to get up to the no volley zone line. So hit a higher, softer, deeper return a serve like a lob. And now you can literally walk up to the no volley zone line.
Yeah.
And the way you develop that is develop to hitting a lob serve. That is the same shot. And then you can hit a drive serve if you want. So it means you hit a drive return a serve. And what I'm working on now is a little short angle serve.
Oh,
So
what does that mean?
and it's really working against even some guys that are, 45 years old.
Really? Oh, do tell. Do tell.
And so,
Wait. What is that? Tell me what that is.
okay, so when you're hitting a drop shot, the target area would really be about 3 feet. Let's say you have 1 foot past the no volley zone line and 2 feet in front of it. Okay. So you got a 3 foot wide target area by 20 feet. So you got a 60-foot square footage of a target area to hit your drop shot. And a serve has 150 square feet. So your third shot drive has 300 square feet versus 60 for a drop shot. So it's much more difficult to hit a drop shot.
Right.
Now when you're hitting your serve, if you take a little triangle over to on the even side of the court, over on the left-hand side past the no volley zone line, and let's say you have it 4 feet by 4 feet or 3 feet by 3 feet. 3 feet from the no volley zone line long, past the no volley zone line. So 3 is 9 square feet. That's a small area to hit the ball into for your serve.
Right.
You have to practice it. You have to, it's like hitting a golf ball as a putter into the little hole there. Right. I mean, it's not like a hula hoop.
Are you saying, okay, so just to be clear, so I have to see this visually. So I'm serving to you. You're back at the baseline.
Right.
I'm going to serve it just past the non-volley zone line.
Right.
In that little, so I see. So it's going to make you have to rush up.
Rush up and move off the court. So it's good.
And move out. You probably move off the court.
You're hitting it cross court.
Yeah. Are you adding spin to it? Are you like purposely spinning it so that it kind of goes?
Yeah, height and pace are two main things. How high are you hitting it? So you're not hitting it extremely high, and you're hitting it somewhat a softer piece, because you want the ball to go a shorter distance. Yeah. And by hitting this particular serve, you now are learning how to control a third shot drop.
Yeah.
And the difference is that a third shot drop is required off of someone's return a serve, and the ball's coming to you. It's coming at different speeds. It's not the easiest ball to hit. But here you're literally able to drop your serve, a drop serve. You can drop the ball, feed yourself a very easy ball. And if you can't hit that ball 3 feet over the no volley zone line to get an accurate serve in, to get in play without faulting, then how are you going to hit a third shot drop when it's a harder ball coming at you? So people never try it because they haven't even thought about it. So on the spectrum of the serve, you add a lob serve, you add a short serve. And
Yeah.
the short serve is important if you're playing bangers.
Yeah.
How do you play bangers?
It diffuses them, right?
Get them a short serve.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now
I
they're
love
running
it.
forward and they can't hit the ball as hard because the harder ball's potentially going to go out. So they hit a more conservative return of serve to get it in play, and gives you an easier third shot. So you can incorporate a lot of strategies and by developing different serves alone.
Yeah.
Short serves, high deep serves like a lob. So therefore, most people don't do it. So now I was watching this show, the NBA thing. I saw this one interview, and they were talking about Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant never went a day without hitting 500 shots, taking 500 shots. He'd go to any gym he could go to and take 500 shots.
Yeah.
So how would our games be if we hit 100 serves every day?
Yeah.
What would our game be?
And the short serve to where you finally got comfortable,
Right.
like you're not going to get nervous and mess it up. Like I can get that short serve. I can get it. No problem. Yeah.
Right. And so it really teaches you how to hit the right pace. Then you can start adding the spin to it. So for the deuce side or the even side, if you roll a little top spin, onto your serve, it's going to dip it into the court a little sooner. So the height and pace and the spin gets you a little top spin, short serve that goes off the court.
Yeah.
And on the ad side, then the odd side of the court, I hit a little slice forehand serve that goes and it curves off the court because I'm right-handed. So I hit a little slice so it hits and goes off the court. And that's an important shot to have when you're hitting the third shot drop. The third shot drop is a target area that's pretty small. And, only really tournament players are the ones that really try hitting drop shots. I mean, I think that the most recreational players, they never hit the ball soft enough to get the ball into the kitchen. They hit every ball with a full swing and they're hitting the ball hard. And so if they're having fun, so I'm not saying it's not a good way to do it. I'm just saying that it's, hitting the ball with different paces really gets you to control the ball to different parts of the court over there.
Yeah.
I went out onto a golf course to show this, and I was, filming myself hitting a basically a 14-foot putt. So when you're hitting a dink, if you ever get into a dinking game, it's 14 feet from no volleys on line to no volleys on line. And basically, if you're going to putt 14 feet, you don't have a big backswing and a big follow through. It's a very small stroke, So I was hitting a putt 14 feet with a small stroke, and then I was hitting one with a big backswing and a big follow through. And the putt would be off the green out into the fairway somewhere. It just would go off. So it's proving that you have to have a small motion, to hit.
And also, athletes understand the dynamics. And so how you're able to correlate, your golf swing to the dink, it just brings it home.
Yeah.
For the dinking, and what you should be doing in the proper mechanics and
right.
Everything. Well, I have to say, like, you caught my attention early on because here is this, national champion pickleball player, and I'm on my local courts, and there you are, and you were playing with everybody. You were just, and I thought it's different because there's a lot of people who are, who have achieved so much like you have, who just really believe that their only game should be against other advanced players. And I know that does advance your game playing against advanced players, but here you were, and it's like, whoa, like, who is this person? And like, what is he doing? And I know we've talked about this, but if you could kind of share your thoughts about that, because you benefit from this. I mean, we benefit from you being there because you're a coach. You help us. You point us in the right direction. But you're benefiting as well, which I think is very interesting.
Well, it's the greatest sport going on. But the problem with pickleball, I would say the number one problem is that people don't hit shots with different paces and slow the ball down in order to play with recreational or weaker players of lower levels. And so as a tennis instructor, tennis pro when I got off the plane. I'm 25 years old. I'm in the prime of my life. You didn't see tennis pros getting out there and hitting aces and knocking the student off the court. So tennis pros that are instructors, we have developed our game to be hitting the ball to whatever level we're playing, the students that we're playing, so that they can actually have a rally and develop their skill set. So when you transfer that over to pickleball, I mean, there was one guy at the local courts, and I asked him, I said, if you were on the court with Roger Federer, would you hit the ball to him? And he thought about it. He said, no, never. And so that gave me the answer that here's the problem that I have when I go out there in the court, because my philosophy in pickleball is to play to that level and give them a nice ball that they have a legitimate chance of getting ball over the net. And I play to whatever level they're at. I challenge them. And that way they have a legitimate chance to get the ball back into play. They're really not, if you can keep the ball in front of their feet, they're really not going to be able to hit a winner. So you basically neutralize the point. But you have to
how does this, my question is this. Okay, so you doing that benefits me because you're challenging me. I want to know, how does this help your game? How does this, now you go to a 5-0 game, and does it help your game?
Well, at a 5-0 level, like at the regionals in Vegas, I mean, if you get the ball up, they're going to put the ball away. They're hitting the ball real hard. So you've got to get the ball down.
Right.
Like a baseball pitcher, for an example, the ones that are the Cy Young Award winners are the ones that have location on their pitches. They're not throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball over the middle of the plate because it's going to get hit. So they have to paint the corners. They have to place the ball outside the strike zone a little bit, or make them chase a pitch. So in pickleball, the same thing. And so when I'm playing recreational, if I'm constantly working on location and softening the ball so I get the ball down in front of their feet, it helps me at the 5-0 level. It's more difficult against a hard ball to place it in front of their feet. The other part about it is that pickleball is a social game. And to me, if there was 4 people in a group and all of a sudden three of us formed a triangle to block out the 4th person and only 3 of us were talking, it's rude. And so when you get on a pickleball court, I can't tell you, everywhere I go, I just recently went down to Cabo, and I was down there on some courts, just went down there to just kind of play and just play some rec ball. I didn't see a ball. I mean, it doesn't matter if I've been to Hawaii, if I go to, local, or any state I've gone to, like 14 different states, there's one common denominator. Rec players want to win, just like tournament players, and they don't hit the ball to the better player. And I'm like going, hey, this is just downright rude, because you don't know how far I've come to get here. And my nature in the pickleball is just to keep the ball in play, to extend the rally, to play social. And I want to be involved, And so that's the one thing that bothers me the most about pickleball is just not having the ball hit. And I get it. I don't hit the ball to the ultimate banger whose design is to put every ball away as soon as possible.
Yeah.
They're showing, I always make jokes about it. God, I can see your canine teeth. I see your jaw just clenching up. You're just trying to put the ball away. Chill out. Hit the ball and play, So I think that's one thing that everybody should do is in one game every day they play is they should try to hit every ball to extend the rally rather than put the ball.
Yeah. It's frustrating when I play with my partner and they're being so aggressive like that. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you starting that? Because also invariably they start the party. I call it starting the party. Right. And then it comes back harder. And then somehow we end up losing the point because, where actually a more aggressive shot is actually to put it at their feet or to place it or to move it or, I don't know. And not that the bang game is a great technique or, and it's definitely a part of successful pickleball play, but like, do you think about developing the other parts of your play? Because that is equally aggressive and is going to translate into the wins.
Right. You want to have an all-court game is what I would tell people is be able to play against all levels. So when I go down to local clubs like in Paso or Cambria or whatever, I think you have an obligation as a club member to be able to play against, if I'm a 5-0, to play against a 3-0 player and let them have fun. And so you're teaching them, at least I try to teach people, is that there's times when most time I will play with anybody, but there are times I play with my peers.
Yeah.
So now we're going to just stack our paddles and we're going to play together. And at that particular time, listen, Joe or Betty or whoever you are, I'm not playing with you today because I'm playing with my peers,
Yeah.
And pickleball is going that way, kind of like how tennis was, is that it was arranged foursomes or groups playing together. And that's part of pickleball. That's where it's going. And a lot of places have courts designed by skill levels. Tournaments are all age and skill.
Yeah.
So I try to get everybody involved to play with everybody. But to do that, you have to know how to hit the ball softer to a beginning player. I think the people that developed the game, it was grandfathers playing with grandkids.
Yeah.
And parents playing with their kids and grandfathers. So play a game that is conducive to all levels of play, because that way it gets them excited about the game. It gets them to be able to have a legitimate chance to develop their game. So that's a key element of playing.
And what's interesting is that you're right, because when you play rec games, you just pop on the court. Everyone is very concerned about winning.
Right.
Like, they want to win, but to me, that's a little bit of it's weird because, like, when I train for a tournament, I'm training with my partner. We are working out strategies, and we are, we're developing our game. And so then, like, you do want to win because you're working towards it. When you're playing rec, you're jumping on a court with someone who you don't really know what their strategy is. You're trying to work it out. So why not have fun? Practice your game, practice your varying shots, and you know what I mean? Because that would just make it so much better. Because, playing a rec game.
Yeah. Well, you watch the top players in the world, and it's 2-on-1, and you'll see, like in mixed in particular, you'll see the two guys watching the two women play a game of singles cross court. And that's at a tournament level, and that's what we see. And, they're trying to get involved in the game, but at that level, they have such ball control, they can't. Yeah. And so at the recreational play is that, the first thing is you serve the ball to one specific service box. Now, here comes the returner serve. So at rec games, I'm trying to encourage people to hit the returner serve to both players. So if I were to set up a drill session at a clinic or whatever, I would say return the serve to the server. Because in pickleball, everybody gets a chance to serve. Everybody gets a chance to hit a returner serve. But not everybody gets a chance to hit a third shot because they always hit the ball to the weaker player. Yeah. So I was down in Cabo down there, and I'm playing with a gal that's like a 2-5, a beginner, and the other team's like a 4-0 team, and they're hitting every ball to her, and she can't get the ball back over the net. So after when it was like 6-0, I raised my hands up in the air and go, hey, can you hit the ball over here? I'm begging to hit a ball. I said, I'm just going to rally with you. So this one guy hits the ball to me. So we had a rally back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hey, that was fun. Let's do that again sometime, Yeah. But, they don't know who I am, and I'm not trying to assert my authority. I'm just trying to play pickleball. And it's kind of like Frisbee. My analogy there is when you play Frisbee with someone, do you play fetch or do you play catch? The object of Frisbee is to throw the ball, the Frisbee, so that your partner can catch it, not throw it away from them so that they have to go chase it, So people just are too serious about winning.
Oh my God, you are just a breath of fresh air. Oh my gosh.
Well, I was up in Palo Alto one time. I was playing up there. Same thing happened, and they had like a retrieving dog that was tied to a bench. And this dog is like watching this ball going back and forth, and it wants to play so much. And I'm going, I need to film that so I can put this on this website eventually, that here's someone that came out to the courts. They spent their time and effort to drive there, to get there. And then they got out the court, And then people say, "Oh, I want to play with Gregg," and I get on the court, but they don't hit the ball to me. And it's like, "Well, wait a minute, what did you want me on the court for?" You know?
Hey, well, okay, I promise that when I'm across the court from you, I'm going to target you. Okay.
You know, I played with a guy named Rich Lopez, one of the top players in the 50s, and we're doing some drills up in Concord where I go to train sometimes. He rebuked me for hitting every ball to him. He goes, "Gregg, you can't every ball to me. You got to share the ball." And I'm going, "Okay, I want to hit to the better player, but I get what you're saying because everybody needs to get the ball." So I would say just be considerate and play, you know, when you're playing recreational ball, you know, involve everybody, you know.
Well, okay, so I played with, it was a women's game, and my partner is a 4 or 5 player. And so the other team was targeting me the whole time. And you know what? I don't mind being targeted. I like it because I love to play and I love to hit the ball. But after about, 5 plays, I just stopped and I said, this person's here and she wants to play. And so we need to hit her the ball. Otherwise, she'll never play with us again. Anyway.
Well, that's part of the thing at clubs, like the local club in Cambridge I have here, is I try to get everybody to think about what's the incentive for the better players to play with you if you never hit the ball to them.
Yeah.
They want to play with the better players, but they get out there and they constantly pick on the weaker player. So, it's like, what's the incentive for me to get out there on the court if I never get a chance to hit the ball? And I'm going to hit you back a nice ball my whole point is to extend the rally.
Right.
Have longer rallies.
Right.
A lot of times
because they're rec players and they just want to win. That's what they. Right. That's all of a sudden it becomes this thing about feeding your ego, like, oh, I won, and I beat Gregg, or what. It's all about your ego, not about here were this 4 of us. Let's have fun. Let's have some great shots. Let's get some exercise, which is the beauty of pickleball.
Well, that brings in another thing about the strategies of pickleball, because when you are serving the ball, you rarely hit an ace. So when you are the returner server, they rarely ace you. And when you are have served the ball and hit the returner serve back, that ball is normally not a winner. You have a legitimate chance to hit that ball. So the problem with pickleball is that everybody's been taught that you've got to get to the no volleys on the line pretty much as soon as possible. This is what prominent the major emphasis is: get up to the net, or otherwise you're not playing pickleball. But if you're hitting you don't have a drop shot, or you hit too high of a ball and you start coming in, you're forcing your opponent to hit a volley, and more often than not, that volley is going to be right into the middle of the court, right at your feet as you're going in. So I would say a common strategy would be hit a 3rd shot drive and stay back, and play their next volley like they're serving to you or hitting the return serve to you. That way you have longer rallies rather than having all 4 people converging up at the net as soon as possible. So it's just a different strategy, but not too many people emphasize it. It's certainly not going to win at the tournament level on a regular basis. But, there was a tournament down in Huntington Beach one time. I was a referee there, and 2 ladies showed up. They were tennis players and had never played a game, never played a tournament, put it that way. They played a little bit of pickleball. They really weren't sure how to score. So they asked me if I could help them. So I went and talked to the other 2 ladies and said, listen, these ladies here, this is the first time they're playing a tournament. They're not really question after question about am I the right serve or right side. I said, let me just help them through it. Do you mind? They said, no, that's okay. These 2 ladies won the tournament by staying back. They were like 3-5 players. They just stayed back and kept the ball in play. And if it's tough to put the ball away when the court's so small. That's why it's such a popular sport. Yeah. You can play effective pickleball, and especially if you learn how to hit a lob serve, which would teach you how to hit a lob. Lobbers are not, a lot of people don't want to play against lobbing teams. And I say hit a lob when you're really in trouble, but don't lob every ball because people don't want to play with you, Stay back, hit ground strokes, make them hit a volley, and you got to be able to move to their volley. You might be vulnerable to a short ball, but doesn't mean you have to take every ball and come into the net. on every shot. You can stay back and be effective.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, okay, so see how we can just keep talking about pickleball? Like
Yeah, right.
We could talk for another 45 minutes about pickleball.
Yeah.
But I do, with these interviews, I always try to keep them about 15 minutes. Yeah, so we've gone about a half hour. But I have to ask you something else, though, before we end.
Okay.
Okay. So what is it with you do spearfishing?
I used to spearfish. I used to do a lot of things before I got
I know
into
it's a different topic, but oh, it's so cool.
Well, I have 2 kayaks, and here in Cambria, the coast is right off. I used to have my kayak underneath the lady's house right on the beach, and I could literally grab my wetsuit, my fishing gear, go down, drag my kayak out, and 10-minute paddle out there. I'm catching fish. And the last time I've gone fishing off my kayak is like 5 years ago, which was I haven't done it much since I've picked up pickleball. I just go play pickleball, So I really need to get back out there and go fishing.
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, don't you think? I think that having those other things you do, like I went horseback riding yesterday, and it was lovely because pickleball is so consuming. It's addicting. I love it, love it, love it. But having those other activities that you love just brings that good balance to your life. And I mean, isn't it funny? I have to even say this, like, Greg, go get your kayak. You should go.
You're right. Yeah, it's one of the things. I mean, I have a passion to fish, and when I went down to Cabo, I did go fishing down there, and I had more fun doing that than the one time I went to play pickleball when they wouldn't
get you the ball.
So why in my ear,
Oh, good. Did you catch that? Did you catch some good fish?
Yeah, there was. It was really interesting down in San Jose del Cabo. It's on the Gulf side. We went up about an hour and a half to Cabo Pumo, which is a reserve, a protected area. So we paid to have this boat take us out to 3 different dives, and one of it's snorkeling. So they dropped us off, and they looked for these tuna they knew they were there. So there was like 3,000 big eye tuna that are all about 20 pounds each, and we just went off the boat and started snorkeling with them. They're like, you can almost touch them, not quite, but they're real close. That was a great experience. And then we went snorkeling with big sea lions, and they're like 1,500 pounds, a little intimidating, but they don't harm you and you don't harm them. But the whole area was protected, so it was really kind of nice to snorkel on the coral reefs and stuff. And then the big eye tuna was an experience. And there's a place up there in La Paz where if you go in the right time of the season, you can snorkel with whale sharks. And so that's one of the things on my bucket list I want to do. I like snorkeling. I like warm water. Cambria, the water is just too doggone cold.
Yeah.
But I like that, and I like to get out there in nature and fish streams and surf fish, and so I take my fishing pole when I go out and about and travels and stuff. I like to do that. Like at the it was the Huntsman.
Yeah.
Playing with Hilly Marold, and then her husband wasn't playing pickleball, but he was fishing. I said, "Where are you fishing?"
Let me go with you.
And 30 minutes west of St. George is a reservoir that he told me to go to, and I went there and I caught some crappie or some bluegill. I mean, it was just fun to get out and do something different.
Fun. I love fishing. Yeah. I love going out Morro Bay, and I've scuba dived, and snorkeling. It's just so peaceful, it's so quiet, and
right,
colors, and seeing the fish and everything. But hey, I just want to thank you. I love talking to you. I love hearing your thoughts, what you're doing, and it's always a pleasure.
Well, I'm thankful for what you're doing for pickleball. You're getting things out and about and trying to create a whole nother avenue for pickleball. It's great. Yeah.
The hosted housing is we have almost 1,000 members now.
Wow.
And so now we just have to get people to sign up. So if you know anyone who would be willing to host people, I mean, think about coming to Cambria, and stay and play pickleball. Like, it's paradise.
Right. Yeah, it's great. It's an average temperature of 65 annually. It's really, really super.
Go play with Gregg. Okay. Okay, I'll see you. Are you going to the Huntsman, by the way, this year?
I am. I'm going to Huntsman.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's good. Get to play with Jim Hackenberg and Roxanne Pierce. They're two, well, you know, he's a Hall of Fame player, so it's just great to play with him. What a super guy. One of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet is Jim Hackenberg and his wife, Yvonne.
All right, well, I hope I get to meet them in St. George.
Yeah, I'll introduce you.
Okay. That'd be
Give him
great.
an interview. He's a
I'm
Hall of
always looking for more people to interview, so if you know anybody, you know, that'd be
he's a Hall of Famer, you know, so that's huge for pickleball.
okay.
So he's
Yeah.
sounds
That sounds good. That sounds good. Okay, Gregg, have a wonderful day, and we'll hope to see you soon.
All right, thanks.
Okay, bye.
See you. Bye.